All right, hi, it's John here, and
Liane,
Liane.
hi.
Yeah, and part three on the subject of permission. So remember, if you've seen the other two videos, but a quick recap, we started with this whole idea of in any relationship, good or bad, or even if you're not in a relationship, you can feel trapped in some sense. And then the next step usually is you blame somebody else for that, or you blame the circumstances. So let's say you're in a take a working kind of context. You feel trapped in a particular job, and then it's kind of, oh yeah, but there's no other jobs available, and there's it's the terrible company I work for, etc., etc. Then effectively you're taking away choice from yourself to really do something about it. So then we talked about actually taking time to step back into what you call your sort of centre, take a space in your life to really think through what's important to you and which direction you want to go. And then we talked about taking small steps towards making the change that you want. Now, what we promised in this third one was talking about as you change things, the world around you is going to resist. Okay, the fact is we are all part of relationship systems, whether it's work, family, or romantic or whatever family systems, and as we make a change, we're actually imposing change on other people around you. We're making them shift. Okay, so it's a perfectly normal and natural thing for people to go, hey, wait a minute, why are you different today? Okay, and that can knock you off centre and knock you off track. So there's a key thing that we have in mind that you need to keep a hold of. Even if you can't totally communicate exactly what the change is, there's something very important going on when you make a change, which is, how would you describe that, Liane?
The change we want to make, we have to back that up, and the easiest it's backed up on our values.
Yeah,
it has to do something we feel is important for us and is sits right with us, and then it becomes much easier to actually tell people about it and show them the benefits it would have for them to help us to implement the change. People, it's not always that they really are against the change. It is just they are irritated. They think you like blue and you suddenly change to green, and they will react as if you like blue. And it is very fascinating that people need a little bit of time, because you spend most likely time thinking about it and adjusting on your emotional level, on your mind level, whereas they are confronted with it, not even having chosen it. And they just need time, and to allow them to be irritated and to allow them to react in a way which shows irritation without thinking that this is a problem or it's wrong.
Now, we're not saying that you should then say, my therapist said you would be irritated, and there you are. What we're saying is, actually, it's at that point you say, that you can express, I'm making this change because this is really important to me, and why it's important to me is because of this, and then express the value of what really matters to you. And actually, when you speak from your values and what's important to you, people get it. You get really congruent, and they go, oh, okay, I didn't realise, and yeah, they still might be irritated the next day, but they'll be less irritated the day after that, and they kind of you start to work into the new normal. Now, a metaphor we were talking about this is the idea of sort of sailing. So if let's say you're a few miles off the coast, and you've got a point on the coast that you're aiming towards. Let's say there's a flag at the coast that you're aiming towards. Now, all sailors will know that if they point the boat at the flag, they're not going to get there, okay? Because there's currents, there's wind, there's all sorts of things that are going to push the boat off course, okay? So for effective sailing, you kind of have to guess roughly guess which is the best way I need to go, 10 degrees this way, kind of thing, that will then take me to the optimum point, the optimum travel time to that point on the coast. And as you go, you feel, oh, I haven't got the wind quite right, or the current's a bit stronger than I thought. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about with change. Okay, so you've made a change. You're heading towards your flag, whatever it might be, and the numerous examples we can think of, and perhaps we'll talk about those. But as you do that, one of your currents, one of those winds comes up. Your partner, your family, and tries to take you off course. And actually, what you say, well, I'm steering in this direction because this is where I'm going, okay, and this is why I want to get there. Oh, okay, I understand that. Okay, so you can't predict what resistance you're going to get, but in that moment of resistance, if you can with kindness and understanding, actually say to people, I get you're irritated, I get this is a change, but this is really important to me because of this. Okay, and you know what, I might be wrong. I might get there and realise that's the wrong flag, but that's the flag I'm heading for right now, and it's important to me.
And it's very interesting because if people, have spent a lot of time with you, you may have a reaction that they say, oh, finally you're doing that. Yeah, that could be as well, that they have seen that, but they were respectful enough to not, challenge you on that because they respect your choices. But you could have people seeing that for a long time and you just were not spotting that and making that decision that could be then backed up by people. So your business is how you feel and how you form your life, and other people's reaction is their business. They have to cope with their emotions and they have to reset themselves. You can't do that for them. And if you try, or if you let that be the barrier, that because you can't do it, you can't change, then that is when you're trapping yourself.
You're back into being very trapped again. Yeah, absolutely. So, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about small change, keeping yourself on track by identifying the values that are really important to you, learning how to kindly express those to other people around you. Expect change. It's going to happen. The system you're in will resist. Now, there's a bit of theory here as well, a bit of neuroscience we can talk about. And it's commonly referred to if you want to change a habit, because actually what we're talking about is a habit here, that it takes between 28 and 56 days or whatever to change a habit. So what essentially someone is saying is when you do something new, it's going to feel awkward, it's going to feel strange, it's going to feel odd. And the next time you do it, it's going to feel less odd, less strange, and then eventually it just becomes that's your pattern, that's what you do. But there's a certain amount of effort you need to apply each time to overcome the oddness and the strangeness, and it will take a certain amount of time that you have to do it. So sort of the neuroscience kind of research, to do anything kind of second nature, for example, you've got to have to practice about 80 times. Okay, so if you want to do something, if you want to get really good at something, you've got to do it at least 80 times. Okay, now let's take the example of let's say you decide, actually I want more fitness and more outdoors in my life. Okay, so you go and get yourself a dog. Okay, and you get up every morning and you take them for an hour's walk. Right, that's a shock to the system to start with. The first morning you're going to go, why did I do this? Why did I go and get a dog? I don't want to get up. Okay, but then you go for the walk and then you remember, now I know why, because I needed some more me time, I needed some more time to reflect, etc. Second morning, you're still saying, oh God, why did I get a dog? But it's a little bit easier. And somewhere at some point down the line, whichever book you read or research articles you read, somewhere between 21 and 80 times, you're going to go, that's just what I do. Get out of bed in the morning and I go for a lovely walk, and that's a great start to the day, and I wouldn't want to give that up for anything. Okay, so even if you logically know it's a really good change you're making, you are still going to feel resistance in yourself and resistance in people around you, and it's not until things become a habit, the new normal is what we talked about in earlier videos, that we often stick with what we've got because we know it's comfortable, it's normal, even though it's the wrong thing, and it could be a very negative thing that you're stuck with.
Yeah, and the more you get stressed, the more you maybe lose it again. Yeah, it's very, very clear for you what you have to do, and then stress comes in, or you had a hard day and then suddenly everything is difficult, then to just realize that the only thing that changed is that you got stressed. So there's nothing on the outside changing. So again, you just have to look after yourself, be kind to yourself, and get to a place where you connect with yourself. It's all about connection. It's all about
that's a place you've got to come from, isn't it?
Yeah,
and recover from. Yeah.
And with that connection, you know what your values are, and you can change your values. Of course you can. You're the only one who can change it. But that would be the place where you can give yourself permission to have that free life or that exciting life or whatever it is, you just need want to have in your life.
Yep. So just to summarise this on permission, we're going to come back to values a lot more. By the way, that's an enormous subject.
Yeah.
That's a whole weekend retreat. Of
And we're looking forward to that.
Yeah,
That would be brilliant.
Yeah, of discovering your values and operating from your values and expressing those more in your life. That's fundamentally what any change is about. What any relationship is about is an overlapping and gathering of values. So it's a big subject. So just to finish off with the whole permission side of things, remember when you feel trapped, okay, you're going to get to a point, hopefully, in a positive sort of change cycle, you're going to realise there is no one trapping you, it's you, okay? And then as soon as you realise that, you start to make some other choices, okay? And the first part of that is to come back to yourself, is to effectively not do anything. Just sit with the knowledge that now it's your choice to make. And then when you start to make those choices, make small steps, small manageable steps, communicate to the people around you of why you're making those steps and what's important, and keep it up until that change becomes the new normal and just becomes part of you and what you do.
And if you find that really annoying, what we say, because you just can't see it or can't agree it, and you say your case is different. I have experienced that lots of time, that people see it in other cases which are unrelated to their own, and it's very obvious, but their own case is different. We have these blind spots, but we are very, very happy to answer questions as well. So give us some questions.
Yeah, please do.
We can hopefully get you a little bit, point in the right direction and see what happens, or come to our workshops and, and explore it there together. We're really looking forward to it because that's what we want to do. Yeah,
we love the workshop formats because actually, whenever we do the kind of workshop sort of format, there's usually somebody else in the room that's already been through the same issue that somebody else is currently, being challenged by. And there's great wisdom in the room, and you're not alone with all these kind of choices that can feel difficult. I can completely get that. Can feel difficult to make those changes that you want, but you're not trapped.
No, okay? And we both believe in the dynamic of group work because there is so much, so much to be learned with other people, not only from coaches, really people in same situations or just looking at differently. Even
saying stupid things in a group, and everybody going,
no
that's
stupid
okay.
Things.
There's stupid things. There's just no stupid things,
No stupid question.
Because when it
doesn't exist.
When you've chosen to change something in your life, you are making yourself vulnerable at that moment. And if you can surround yourself with people who are doing the same thing and are on your side at the same time, what a great thing that is. And that's not a plug for IntoU kind of stuff. That can be Daniel Babington Club, that can be dog walking club. Look at all the meetup kind of things you can get involved in. Surround yourself with people that are on your side, and are making similar kind of changes. That will make change much easier for you, which is something that's actually fundamental at the heart of what we're doing with IntoU. Is
connecting people and creating that. Chance to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, we hope that little series on permission's been really useful to you. Lots more to come up.
And again, if you have questions, if you want us to cover a certain subject, just let us know and we will do our best to cover that.
Now, I warn you, we've already got a huge list, okay? Yep. But if you've got a particular thing you want to cover, then we're very happy to prioritise your thing to the top of the list, so let us know. Okay.
All
right. Bye for now.